Hola a todos, how you doing? Welcome to the Barcelona edition of Saturday. It's a soccer day of our class. How about that? This module, how it fits into the sequence of everything that happens throughout the semester. This module used to be called mass customization. When I started fitting it in with the big perspective of everything that we're talking about this morning, we really were talking about it as a mass customization, where everybody wiggle your toes right now. Just wiggle them a little bit. And then think about what size your feet are. Well, if you think your left foot and your right foot are the same size, they are not. Okay, they are different. And pretty much everyone has different left and right foots. So if you're a runner or you're an athlete or you want very, very fancy shoes to be wearing to work, well then guess what? You should be wearing size Dr. Dano or a size yourself. You should not be wearing size 8.5 or size 6 or size 14. You should have your shoes customized for you as a segment of one. And there was a lot of talk about this for years in this mass customization stuff. And this conversation was mainly coming out of the operations side, the manufacturing side of the firm. We started shifting in the last 6 or so years. It was still manufacturing, and it was still, and these articles are in the back file, by the way, if you're really interested in this kind of thing. I really thought for a while there that 3D printing and big data was going to be these are also in the back file, was going to be the next wave of smart mass customization. I would say in the last 3 years that we've seen a dramatic shift, and this dramatic shift is towards these, as Michael Porter would call them, smart connected products. The more popular term that you would see in the Wall Street Journal or Business Week is the Internet of Things. First time I heard this was in very late 2013, but 2014 and 15 it really exploded, and 2016 we started to get, 2015 and 2016 we started to seeing a number of products that are either wearable or connected in some kind of a way. We can summarize the whole module into making the non-digital digital. Your coffee machine was mechanical. Now it can be digital. Your refrigerator was mechanical. Now it can be digital. Your car is certainly digital right now for the most part, although there's a lot of mechanical aspects to it, but that's starting to change. Watches, phones have already been there for a while. We are getting more towards making the non-digital digital. All right. One last thing, just a reminder, this Michael Porter guy might be one of the most famous strategists, period. It is his book that he originally published in 1980, and then he published the competitive advantage version of it in, hold on, let me hit pause. Sorry about that. Michael Porter is one of the most famous dudes. We have the word competitive advantage in our vocabulary because that was his 1985 update of the 1980 book. His 5 forces model, which we're going to get to in a second, I'm sure all of you have had in your MBA classes at some point already. All right, some major nuggets from these articles. And what I want to do is spend about 3 to 5 minutes on each one of these articles to help frame this module so we can continue going forward, because you guys are working on your case. And I'm sure there's a lot of versions of Dr. Dano heads on a dartboard somewhere throwing things at it. But that's okay. So you have this Internet of Things thing. Okay? He wants to call it smart connected products just because he's Michael Porter and he wants his own word for it. Sidebar comment. This is an article that's also in our reading that's coming up, but it's a backfile article. I no longer have it required. Okay? But what he does in this article is really set the stage of how the smart connected product fit in strategy-wise with your competitors. This is a fantastic slide. The new technology stack. When we talk about the word stack, This is a very, very buzzy word happening right now over the last 12 to 18 months. But, people ask about your technology stack. And they tend to ask about it because so much of the things end up being in the cloud. But this is a great, one shot, one graph, overview, picture, infographic, whatever you want to call it, of the technology stack and how the smart connectivity fits in. Okay, and you see a little bit of the 5 forces here, but he's going to have another slide for that. I really like how he goes, what can smart connect products do? They're really good at monitoring. They're really good at control. They're really good at optimization. They're really good at just setting it and forgetting it and collecting data. Really, really awesome. Okay, here's Porter's 5 forces. Could a Smart Connect product reduce the threat of entrance? Reduce the threat of substitutes? Perhaps, because if you're so addicted to the data stream that you have here, and you have years and months and months and months of data in your workout app, you don't want to break your relationship with that workout app. What else do we have here? Nice little infographic going from here to here, talking about how smart connected products fit into an ecosystem. He just happens to have this with regards to farm. Now, tractors have always been mechanical, but we now can have different types of digital data feeding in, that a farmer could be able to upload data faster to the marketplace given what's happening in the field before it comes out on the field, and something along those lines. All right, let's see if there's anything else here that was okay. Implications for strategy. This is solid. Which set of smart connected product capabilities and feature would company pursue? If you're thinking about how to make this fit into you, here's some really, really solid questions. How much functionality should be embedded? What can you handle, basically? Question 3, should the company pursue open or closed? I'm more a big fan of closed just because you have more control and more customization. Should the company develop a full set of smart connected capabilities, infrastructure internally outsourced to vendors and partners? In other words, kind of what Amazon is doing with Alexa and doing APIs and having little widget or skills, as they call them. What data must the company secure? What should be taken care of? How does the company manage its ownership of the rights of the data with the user? Should the company fully or partially intermediate Some good mistakes. Should the company change its business model? Should the company enter new businesses? Yes, Sonos is fantastic if you have Sonos or ever heard it before. These Philips lighting and these digital light bulbs are fantastic. You put 2 light bulbs in a room, granted they're very expensive, you can get, 5,000 different colors or 2,500 different colors? Pretty awesome stuff. This is a heavy-duty article. If you ever get into this discussion at work, you have ammunition. So let's follow that article up with the other one, which this topic got so hot that he wrote the original one in 2014 at the end of the year. By 2015, he had to write another one. Okay? This one, the first one really is the more detailed one that sets the stage, right? The second one provided basically just better examples. Here we saw this from the last article. We also saw the technology stack from the last article. But I think the key, he didn't do this in the last article. He talks a little bit more about analytics here. He's talking a little bit more about the data stream that these Internet of Things bring in and what you can do with them. Because for all intents and purposes, the Internet of Things gives us more data to be able to create more algorithms. That's really what it's about. I love here where we talk about marketing and sales, new customer relationships, i.e. this should be going into some kind of a CRM system to be able to provide better value. We had that wonderful article on the 30 different typologies of value. After sales service, no question. HR, without question. I mean, I know a lot of companies that make firms wear Fitbits or stuff like that, and they get healthcare discounts because of how much exercise they're doing. If I'm not mistaken, the other two major things about this article, which is why I added it to the packet, were the examples with GE and also an organizational structure conversation. So here we are with the functional silos of IT, R&D, manufacturing, marketing, sales, service, and support. These are the traditional functional silos, okay? And I like that he's trying to, we had another article talk about scrub teams. I like that going all the way back to the beginning of the semester, he's calling it a cross-business unit steering committee or centers of excellence. Either way, to me, this is very interesting in how you can bust through silos and become more MO. The last thing about this article that was really solid was the examples with GE. With GE sells, $1 million aircraft engines to the American Airlines of the world. Well, inside the engines are smart connected products. The smart connected product data stream goes back to GE. They do analysis, and they literally could say, hey, American Airlines, you know that flight that you're doing between New York and LA? Well, you can probably decrease fuel costs if you fly an average of 5,000 miles higher at a slightly lower speed and still get there in the same amount of time, and da-da-da-da. They can make these recommendations to their clients because they are looking at the data stream from the engines. This is after sales data stream, by the way. It's not like, okay, American Airlines, here's the engines. Call us when they need to be repaired or updated. No. This is more of a back and forth, two-way CRM type relationship. Okay? Good. All right, we have two more articles here. Digital ubiquity. Now, this was a 2014 article. You have to understand that, as much as I love Harvard Business Review, there was not that many Internet of Things or smart connected product articles out there. There still is not. So at the time, this one came up, and of course I included it in the packet. I mean, some of this was already covered in the two Porter articles. These guys put a better feel on the growth of the number of connected devices. We tended to think about computers and smartphones and tablets and mobile. Christmas. Sorry about that. Lots of people call me in the morning. What can I say? I mean, this will just give you a feel for the growth of where we're going with these smart connected products. Of course, the GE aircraft engine example is here again. Very good. Interesting example about Nest. Maybe some of you have a Nest thermostat at home, which is really cool. Drilling equipment. Really, this is a good article to provide some more CRM-like relationships that people get with smart connected products and data. Whether you want to call it big data, whether you want to call it CRM. Solid article. However, this one was better. This one's more recent. And this one, instead of talking about the device, this article, which also happens to be new for this semester and the most recent of anything we have in the packet, was spot on. And really, this one deals more with the algorithm as opposed to how we're collecting the data, which is a smart connected product or an Internet of Thing kind of thing. You know, the better data we have, the better decisions we can make. I think it's a great way to summarize this whole concept and this whole idea. You know, now we know from our sports fans, and maybe some of you saw the Moneyball movie, you know, there was a time where managers did not use data to make decisions. Now there's a time where all they do is make decisions. Oh, I don't have it here anymore. Well, I'm going to come back to this one. Netflix, who was featured heavily here, you know, they're radically changing their data analytics from a 5-star system to a thumbs up, thumbs down. Which, when I first saw this, I'm like, from an algorithm perspective, it's a hell of a lot easier to make decisions or make data analytic decisions based on thumb up or thumb down as opposed to 1 through 5 and everything in between. This is easier. This is a 0-1 in the algorithm, where 1 through 5 would be a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would have to do math on gradations of those kinds of things. But very good article from The Verge. I'll send this one to you, and I'll try to send you another one, which was the baseball one from the Philadelphia Phillies and all the people that they've hired from Google. I won't spend time here looking for it, but I'll do it as soon as we get off here. Okay? This was a fantastic article. So if you didn't get a chance to read the other articles, okay, I just provided you the background. But you needed to read this one, because this one really fits best with the module and what we're going to do going forward. So the whole front of this article here and in this page, we're talking about using data to make decisions. And yes, data can come from social media. But there were some interesting things, and I would use this article to now have new conversations, you know, because they really laid it out. I mean, saying how literal they are and talking about them as black boxes. In other words, there's no theory or why they're doing something. The data just tells them to do it, which sometimes isn't always the great thing, which is why you have to have soft goals, because of this data myopia. You know, we also have to pick the right data inputs. I really like this discussion of wide data. I know when I was doing my PhD research, the more variability in the number of data points, the stronger your data and its predictions ultimately will be. Hopefully looking for diversity in the data. And really knowing what the algorithm can do and not do. I think the only thing missing from this article is the idea that the algorithm is only as good as you program it. And the algorithm needs to run in beta. We should not bow at the altar of the algorithm. I think the algorithm should be one of the data sources we use to make decisions. It shouldn't be the only data source that we make decisions. Because we know with bots and we know with other types of situations, there are very bad results that if we don't monitor and create short, soft goals to tweak for, you know. But I'm a big fan of them. If I had a business that would be more CRM-like, I would be using algorithms as well. I certainly recommend and consult to firms to use the data to make decisions, but I also make sure I tell them that you should not bow at the altar of the data. It should be a source, not the only source for you to make your ultimate decisions. Okay? To wrap up, we're going to do Topic Talks on Monday. We are going to have a guest with us. We're going to have Dean Steve Lanzette with us to talk about leadership. We'll do our Topic Talks in the second half. Dean Steve will be with us in the first half of the class. And outside of that, I'm good. You have any questions, you shoot me an email, okay? Thanks, man.